Hazbin Hotel Season 2 Episode 5 continues off where the previous episode leaves off. And this time around, Charlie Morningstar is able to get the attention of Heaven, who wants to go down there and deeply apologize to all the sinners of hell. All the while, Fox has other ideas and is already manipulating all of hell to rise up against Heaven and start an all-out war between the two worlds. I really enjoyed this season of Hazbin Hotel so far. I thought pacing-wise and character-wise, it has been a step up from season 1. It felt like it was having its own identity of just all-out imagination in terms of its music, its creativity, its characters, how it's pushing the story forward. And Fox as a villain has been so much fun to watch, especially in this episode. If there's anything worth praising about this season consistently, is that Fox is an amazing antagonist, so manipulative, so full of himself, how he carries himself throughout a scene, his interrogations and moments with Alistair as they bicker and fight with one another. It is just fantastic stuff when it comes to this character. And this episode epitomizes everything I love about the Vox character. How he is able to manipulate all of hell in order to bend everything to his own will. How he sticks to his guns. And just how unbothered by everything he is to a very unsettling degree. Not even against Lucifer himself is he swayed by any of his threats to shut his plan down. He is still trucking forward and is going to do whatever it can to be able to become a godlike figure to all the people of hell and to take over Heaven. And this kind of villain and how he's able to just constantly pursue his goals no matter the cost and stick to his guns the way he does is what I love about this kind of villain that is just so evil and loves it just for the sake of the game. And speaking of the music earlier, the musical segments here in this episode are absolutely fantastic. When it comes to Lucifer coming down to try and threaten Fox, and Fox just retaliates back heavily and just brings up so much of his personal shit forward for everyone to hear, we just see how much power Lucifer has truly lost, and that a mere overlord is able to overpower him in terms of power and influence. And when it came to Heaven coming down to apologize to all the sinners and how he retaliates again with another song, Resist, I was just floored, especially with the cinematography, the animation, just everything about this musical segment here felt big, grandiose, threatening. Just everything about the staging of this entire sequence was just beautiful and showcases just how much power Vox has already had on all of hell. How his influence has spread much wider than Charlie, and it creates for such an intimidating presence that it makes me so excited to see what he does in the finale. In my opinion, he is a much better antagonist than Adam was, and I'm very excited to see how next week is going to conclude this story arc. And as I said earlier, the animation is great in the musical segments. It is great all around this season. The episode we're talking about today, especially, is absolutely beautifully done. From the way the colors are contrasted with one another, with the way the animation is so fluid, how the camera pans around the characters, just everything about this episode was just so visually fascinating to watch. But if I have to have any flaws with this episode, is that the storytelling is a bit rushed. Yes, unfortunately, the rushed pacing is back, and there are just so many plot lines in this episode that I just did not feel it was given the attention it deserved. We are now back with Carmela Carmine and some of the overlords now being brought into Vox's side, but a lot of that is dropped early and we don't see the overlords any further on the episode. Some of the side characters are sidelined, and there's some things with Angel Dust that are revealed in the next episode that I feel like should have been built up a lot more here. Just so many things about this episode felt like it could have been so much better if it was just more focused on Vaggie and Charlie coming to see Heaven and get them to be able to apologize to all of hell. If it's just about those two characters and this episode alone, and just have these other plot lines in its own separate episode, I guess it could be a lot better, but we only have 2 more episodes left. I felt like this season could have used another extra episode if that's the case. I don't know why they're just sticking to 8, because clearly with this episode, it shows that the pacing is just not helping much here anymore. Like the other 4 episodes, I thought were paced really well and were a major improvement over season 1. But it feels like the pacing issues are back again, and that's just due to Vivian Madrano just adding so much stuff to the story that I felt like it wasn't given the attention it deserves. Even Lute, who does make an appearance once again, doesn't have much story relevance apart from one scene of her hating on Vox being a sinner. Apart from that, not much is done with Lute so far apart from episode 2. So I don't know how this is all going to be expanded upon in the next 2 episodes. Like, it's surely going to expand upon the next season, but as for this season alone, a lot of stuff just feels undercooked. Overall, I still enjoy this episode. It is still a really fun episode and has some of my favorite moments of all of Hazbin Hotel, especially with the character of Vox. But in terms of the pacing and the storytelling, it leaves a lot to be desired. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.